Let's talk about your money. There's a new law that took effect in July allowing you to invest in Indiana startup companies through something called crowdfunding on the internet. We've got our financial advisor, Elaine Beadle, in studio today. Elaine has some advice on this new way to fund a business. Good to see you, Elaine.
Thank you.
So what is crowdfunding?
Well, when you think about it, crowd means lots of people, and funding, in this case, funding a business over the internet. So crowdfunding, a lot of people may associate with nonprofits in the past who had a project that they were raising money for, or maybe a musician or artist who put out a call if they needed some funding, and maybe you got a CD back, but you didn't become an investor in anything, it was purely a donation. Well, now this is actual investing in a company where you're going to own shares.
How does the Indiana law work?
Well, actually, it's kind of funny. Back in April of 2012, when the Jobs Act was passed by the U.S. government, the SEC was required to put the rules together. They haven't done that yet. So Indiana and a few other states kind of went out on their own, and the General Assembly passed this last session in 2014 regulations that then the Secretary of State, Connie Lawson, and the Securities Commissioner, Carol Mahalik, went ahead and got the rules together. So effective July 1st, we as Hoosiers could invest in Indiana companies. Now, the Indiana companies must be private businesses, obviously. They can't be publicly traded. Obviously, that doesn't work. But they're usually startup companies. They have to register with the state, with the securities officer, and they have to, the maximum they can raise is $2 million. Now, their registration with the Secretary of State will indicate how much they want to raise and by when. And that $2 million is the cap, unless you can't provide financial information, and it's only $1 million. Now, the next place is, where do you go to buy this? There's going to be internet opportunities. They're called investment portals, so a separate internet website that you can go to do this. And they also have to register with the Secretary of State. And so far, just one since July 1st is actually registered. But now with investors, you have to be an Indiana resident. The maximum you can invest is $5,000 in any one entity. And the money goes into escrow, which is a good protection for investors, because if they don't make their funding goal by the ending date, then you get your money back.
You do get your money back,
right.
Okay.
And you also get 48 hours to change your mind.
All
so
right.
48 hours before that ending deadline, funding deadline, you could still say, I changed my mind, and get your money back. So there's some protection there as well.
So what's your advice? Is this a good investment for us?
Well, you know, as any other investment, there's risk involved. And particularly when it's a small startup company, you know, 50% of small businesses don't make it past 5 years.
Right.
So it's illiquid, you can't get your money back. And my concern is that there could be opportunity for scams here. So my advice to investors is to do your good due diligence on this investment, and make sure you check the Secretary of State's website so that you know that the company has registered appropriately and the internet site has registered appropriately, so that you aren't being scammed on something.
Yeah, you want to make sure it's legit.
Yeah, but on the other hand, this is an opportunity for small investors to get involved in the bottom level for a company that could be the next exact target.
Very interesting. Crowdfunding.
Right.
Elaine Beadle, we have more with Elaine Beadle and Beadle Financial on WTHR.com.